Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Inform, Enrich, Empower, celebrating local Latinx leaders, co-sponsored by One Fairfax. I'm Tina Mraz, the Programming and Educational Services Director for the Fairfax County Public Library. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. The panel discussion will be 35 to 40 minutes long. This event is scheduled to end at 8 p.m. and it will be recorded. Everyone has been muted for the panel discussion portion of the program. We will have time for questions at the end of the discussion, and we ask that you raise your virtual hand if you have questions and wait until you're recognized, and then you will be unmuted to ask your question. Thank you. So tonight you will meet inspiring Hispanic Latinx leaders who will share stories of how their strength and resilience led to successful careers and positive contributions to our society. Now I would like to introduce Carol Escalante, Director of Immigrant Community Affairs and the facilitator for tonight's panel. Carol is Fairfax County's Director of Immigrant Community Affairs. She's a part of the One Fairfax team and has more than 16 years of experience working with key topics related to immigration, community engagement, public policy, diversity, inclusion, and strategic planning. She served as a diplomat in the Foreign Service of Honduras for approximately 8 years. Her last post was in Chicago, Illinois, as Consul General of Honduras. During that time, she worked on a daily basis supporting the Honduran community and developing new strategies to be able to create programs that will have a positive impact in Hondurans in areas like immigration, human and labor rights, education, financial literacy, and more. She has a Master's of Arts in Strategic Communication from George Mason University and a Master's of Fine Arts in Media Design Management from the International Academy of Design and Technology of Tampa, and a bachelor's degree in journalism from the National Autonomous University of Honduras. Please join me in welcoming Carol Escalante.
Good evening, everyone. Oh my goodness, that was such a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much, Tina, for that, nice and warm introduction. It is a true honor to welcome you to this special event as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. Originally I had a little bit of music prepared for today, but I'm going to imagine the beautiful rhythms of our Hispanic countries. So here in Fairfax County, we are so excited to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. Today, we gather to recognize the tremendous contributions of Latinx leaders who have shaped our community, our culture, and also our future. Their stories of resilience, innovation, and leadership remind us of the rich heritage that continues to strengthen and diversify our country. This month is a time to reflect on the vibrant traditions, histories, and cultures that our Hispanic and Latinx communities bring to the table. And I want to say that it's also an opportunity to acknowledge the many ways that that this community enriches our lives, from public service to education, business, the arts, and beyond. So like I said, we are proud to be joined by such an inspiring panel of Latinx leaders. Oh, Karen, it's very who have not only paved the way for future generations, but have also shown what can be accomplished through hard work, determination, and a deep commitment to our community. So thank you, our dear panelists, for being here. And let's look forward to an inspiring discussion. We have today Rosalia Fajardo, Disability Strategic Partnership Director of Independence. A big round of applause. Yay, virtual applause. For the Center in Northern Virginia. We also have Karen Vallejos from the DEEM Project. She's the Executive Director. And we have my dear friend Alejandro Negron, who is the executive director and host of La Agenda Radio DC. Thank you all for being here today with us. As we honor this heritage, like I mentioned before, let us continue to strive inclusiveness, equity, and mutual respect. Let's today conversations, empower us all to embrace our diversity and work together toward a brighter and more united future. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Thanks, honorable panelists, for being with us today. I cannot thank you guys enough. In this powerful, full of positive energy Zoom meeting, how are y'all feeling today? I
Feeling
know
great.
I can feel the energy. Yes,
Thank you for the invitation.
So, I was gonna say, show me through, emojis, how are you feeling today? But you can also write your questions in the comments or chats, and the panelists will also have the opportunity to answer them, after we go through our main core questions, of course. Are you guys ready to start?
Yes.
Yes. And I wanted to share that right now, for Fairfax County Public Libraries, when we do this panels, it is very important for us to share that right now, we have a couple of people that have joined the Zoom call, but then afterwards, we're sharing this link, this video. It's going to be recorded and it's going to be uploaded in YouTube, where we get a lot of our visitors who go and revisit the different events that are organized by Fairfax County Public Libraries. Thank you so much, Tina, for making this possible for the second year, because this definitely uplifts our community by highlighting all the contributions of our great Hispanic leaders in Fairfax County. And I'm a proud Hispanic, right? A proud immigrant as well. So my first question to the panelists, are you guys ready?
Yes.
Shoot. Yes. Is the following. Can you tell us a bit about your background, upbringing, and identity? And we will start in this occasion with Rosalia, then Karen, and last but not least, Alejandro.
¿Empiezo yo?
Adelante.
Adelante.
Ladies first.
Thank you. The most beautiful gentleman in the planet. The most beautiful boys in this area.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's right.
And I'm from Colombia, and I'm a lawyer from Colombia. And my background is extensive in terms of education, health, and legal aspects. My expertise as a lawyer has been always for more than 25 years about the special education and accessibility rights for focus to serve and teach and educate the Latino families of this country about the rights. I'm coming from a very humble family, and never occurred to me when I was in Colombia, and I was born in Bogota, which is the capital, but then my family moved to, my father was a union leader. That's why I was born in Bogota. But I was raised in a very small town, and we were part of this middle class who was dreaming to be someone through education at that time. And that was my dream, always. I never have the doubt that I was going to be a highly educated woman and to serve, because I went to Catholic schools, and those are very inspirational for us, and in terms of services to others. That's why, and also my family, is both my father and my mother were so connected with the idea of serve and give back. We didn't have that much in terms of wealth, but we have a lot to give back in terms of services, and be with a lot of solidarity. My dad from the union, fighting for rights for the workers, and my mother uh, teaching the other women back then about to write and the rights for women and equality. She was a truly inspiration for me. And that's a little bit of my background. I didn't live much in Colombia because after my graduation through a scholarship, that's why I love the scholarships and all that. I went to Paris to obtain my master's in public administration. And then life gave a huge turns and I came to live in the United States.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now we will pass it to Karen.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. Yes, so my name is Karen. I was born in Cochabamba, Bolivia. I immigrated with my family to Arlington, Virginia when I was 5 years old. So I am a local of Northern Virginia, the DC metropolitan area. I think when I think about my identity, I'm very proud of my Bolivian heritage, of my indigenous heritage from Bolivia. Similar to Rosalia, I think I also come from a background of like educators. My grandparents in Bolivia were educators. They are the ones I spent most of my time with. So was my father. So I think with me, I brought that appreciation for education, for knowledge. I think it's what propelled me to be an advocate even here in the United States for education. When I was growing up, I wasn't documented, so I did face a lot of barriers in accessing education. But despite my immigration status, I always thought that education was this big equalizer. And it's what really, I think, inspires me to keep going and doing the work I do, because time and time again, I see students and I meet them as young as high schoolers, early college students, and years later, they're in graduate school, they're doing doctorates, and you see the transformation that education has in their lives. And that's really my biggest inspiration.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Karen. And last but not least, Alejandro.
Hi. Well, good evening to all. Thank you for the invitation. My background, I was born in Puerto Rico to a magnificent family. We grew up in the country, kind of a country boy upbringing in a farm, raising animals and kind of the food that we ate. We had to grow it as well and, work hard. My father, who was also a broadcaster, had an accident and we kind of lost everything. So we went to the farm and, for the beginning of my life, we were kind of surviving based on what we can grow. And I think that really did kind of direct my interests a lot in life, especially with the working class and working class Latinos that, as you know, many of us come from that specific background, not necessarily with a lot of money and sometimes not with a lot of resources, but with a very strong work ethic and a hunger to succeed. That led me to start a radio career early on. I think the first time I spoke on the radio, I was 15 years old. And ever since then, I've always thought that radio, because people can take it anywhere, should not only entertain, but also kind of be people's voice and kind of, be there to put a megaphone on whatever issues are going on in the community, not just the good stuff, but also the bad stuff. And I think for the past, 25 years here in DC, I think that's what I've been doing, doing entertaining radio programs or news-based radio programs, but also with a big chunk of that being community work and community-based information, where the listeners are part of the information gathering that we do for our program. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud of being part of this community. Although Puerto Ricans here are a minority, maybe not in the federal government, local communities such as Salvadoran community and the Bolivian community and the Peruvian community and Guatemalans and Hondurans, have really kind of adopted me. Colombians and Venezuelans as well. So I'm a DC guy. I'm a DC Latino.
Yes.
So I'm very proud of being here, and I hope to learn a lot from everyone here in the panel.
Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm feeling inspired today with this answer. Don't you all feel as well? My goodness. I'm feeling the salsa in your veins. In your
Oh yeah, it's there, absolutely.
Azúcar.
Azúcar.
No, this is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing this, all your personal background. And I think it's a great way for our future generations to feel inspired by all of you. Thank you so much. And I know you all personally, and I think it's so wonderful to see you all shine and to be role models for future generations. And I'm gonna continue now to my second question. So my second question to the panelists is, ta-na-na-na, what role did education play in your road to professional success? And were there any obstacles you faced in accessing educational opportunities? I will start this time with Alejandro, then Karen, and then Rosalia.
I think education is, the great equalizer, right? So I just don't believe that the only place to get education is necessarily at a, university or college. I think education is a daily thing. I think is reading. I think is checking your sources. I think is understanding how to consume news, how to consume information, how to, become a more critical thinker. I believe that education, and I really do hope as a community that we promote this a lot more, for not just to stop by in graduating with a degree, but also in continuing to learn every day, because the world is changing so much with AI and other technologies. It's kind of sad that a lot of people who are graduating college, by the time they graduate, whatever they learn may be obsolete. So we do kind of have to take, that responsibility as individuals to continue educating ourselves, and that's an everyday, job and task that I think that we have. With that said, I'm a big fan of higher education. I didn't have as many opportunities coming up, and by the time I was 20, I was, already operations director for a radio chain, and that was kind of my career. But so I never ended college, which definitely, to me, always kind of made me a little bit insecure. So that is one of the reasons why I read more, why I study more, and why I like to prepare more. And I just believe that, education is a daily thing that you have to commit to. Absolutely.
And this is coming from someone who, provides a summary of everything that is happening worldwide.
Every
Someone
day.
who will talk a little bit
Every
about
day.
whatever you want
Whatever
to talk
topic.
about and have an answer. And this is what I think. So you have done a pretty good job on self-educating yourself, Alejandro.
I appreciate
Wonderful.
it, and I have to tell you that to say that in a program like this one, is probably new for me, and that just, I feel like I'm around friends. I mean, I know Rosalia Fajardo forever. Carol and I were co-hosts of a show, so I appreciate that. And the reason I say it is because there are a lot of folks out there who are also kind of self-educated and have a lot to contribute. And whether they have a degree or not, I think that we should always be welcoming of people who want to learn and who may not have, achieved that education through a traditional path. I think they also have a lot of value and a lot to offer, just like the people who do, go to university and have a bachelor's degree or master's or doctorate.
Yeah, with this said, and I think like what matters the most is everything you do it with passion. Because you see,
Absolutely.
Alejandro, that he definitely reflects all his passion, even when he provides his comments, when he provides his point of view, or when he is supporting any project that is happening in the DNV area, because it's not all about sharing, what he, all the knowledge he has been, collecting through many years, from a lot of political knowledge, a lot of worldwide, I will say, foreign policy. But
Yes.
it's about also giving back to the community. And then you will talk with Alejandro and people identify with him. And then, yeah, Alejandro, can we take a picture? And
Yeah.
so it's about transmitting that and being able to digest complex topics through the radio, right? And then kind of like making our community be able to digest this complex
Yes.
topics and
Yeah.
saying, what is happening? I heard this in the news, but then what this means is this.
Correct.
In step 1, step 2, step 3. And that is something that is so wonderful, because
I
that way our
appreciate that.
community understands, where we're standing. Thank you, Alejandro, for sharing that.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Right. And now we're gonna move to Rosalia.
Well, education for me is everything. And I kind of reflecting on what Alejandro said. My parents, my dad never went to school. And because he went out of home and at a very, very early age, and he never had the chance to go formally to a school. He learned to read in a hospital when he was recovering from some illness. But he was the most avid reader and taught me to read when I was 4. I was a disaster in math still. A totally disaster. But he was so inspirational, and my mother, she was very smart. She had a chance to finish the elementary school. Back then in Colombia, almost 100 years ago, if I can say, education for women were very restricted. I mean, around the globe, I will say that. That's why he was always insisting that education was the key to be like someone. And I was sharing today with someone that said, "What was your dream?" And I said, "My first dream was to be an actress." And
En la
but
telenovela.
the theater at the time when I'm 66, and in my times the teatro was kind of something big for us, but my dad, I remember vividly, he said, "No, you need to go to the university because you need to educate and to have a different life, and travel and all of that." But I connected very well with Alejandro said that, and he locally has been helping so many students. In the past, I was working at the Fairfax County Public Schools as a community liaison many, many years ago. And then I created something that I call it Feria de Becas.
Mhm.
And I did like 6 or 7 Feria de Becas for regular students, because we have, just crossing the bridge, all these organizations that helps Latinos to go to the next level. And our Latino students in our high schools, they didn't know about these wonderful national organizations who were promoting, education, internships, and all that opportunities. And I was dedicated to promote that. But coming back to connecting to Alejandro, I also adore the education that is not formally, because it's very connected to the special education,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
And
sure.
in regular terms, our students, our children, can regularly they can graduate from high school with a certificate, but then they embrace the vocational education, which is el arte,
Yeah.
the art to do things with the hands.
Sure.
And it's a so beautiful way to be someone and finally to live independently. And it's through education, not really formal, but hands-on, like Alejandro, hands-on, and in all the ways, is the key for a human being. Education in all the ways. Yeah.
Love it. And I want to say congratulations to Mrs. and Mr. Fajardo because they did a wonderful job raising a great daughter. Thank you, Rosalia, for that inspirational answer. And just to give a little bit of background, and I know I put Rosalia's biography and all our great panelists today in the chat. So Rosalia works with families that have kids with disabilities. And when you're talking about education, you know, in many of our countries, someone that has special needs, it's very challenging to be able to access this different kind of opportunities to, you know, to keep moving up the ladder in, you know, in different educational ways, access to a university or even finish high school. So the work that you do, the way you change these families by all the support that you and the organizations independent does through all the hard work in guiding our community, like you were mentioning at this at this point, we need to also be facilitators for our community, sharing this great opportunities. So that was a very beautiful example. And then now I'm gonna say this is a very powerful topic for Karen. Shaping the future of many immigrants in our area. Karen.
Thank you. Yes, I know I kind of hinted at it in my first answer, but yeah, I think when I look back at my own history, I experienced many barriers even upon arrival as a 5-year-old, many that in our community come and you don't know English, you are adapting to a new school system, you're trying to teach your own parents about the school system while learning about it yourself as a young child. I know many have that experience, but I was very grateful, I think, to a lot of mentors I had along the way. I think I echo what Rosalia and Alejandro have said, that not all education is formal. I am a great supporter of higher education. I spent a lot of years in school.
Yeah.
I went to past my college degree, I went on and got my law degree, but I think a lot of where I really learned and how to actually use my degrees, how to use my education, even as a young person, was through mentorship, through community supporters, leaders, teachers, teacher aides, even just faculty at the schools. And I think, to go to your original question about some challenges I faced, I think I graduated from high school at a time where there was a lot of barriers in Virginia for undocumented students. And despite that, being able to use my education helped me secure scholarships, helped me be able to go to school. I had to go out of state, ironically, to Texas. I know we sometimes see them as an even more conservative place, but at that time they had more opportunities than Virginia. And then after I finished college, I was able to come back. By then I had adjusted my status, and after working for a little bit, I went on and went to law school. And to me, that was rewarding, not just for me to learn the law, but to be at a space where, frankly, I was the only Latina in my class. At times it does feel very isolating, but at the same time, you carry with you that your heritage, your culture, and by being there, you're kind of making space for others to follow. And I think as I go in my journey, that's really what I always think about. Now, as executive director of the Dream Project, we give 110 scholarships a year, 100 for higher education, and we actually do 10. We started this year for career technical education, because I strongly believe that there's not just one format for education. And I think we have a lot of talented youth that don't always need to benefit from a 4-year degree, but are really great at different technical skills, and we want to support them as well. So I think my own journey and my own experience has kind of brought me here, but at the same time, I really echo that. I think college, formal education, it is important. It does really help open doors, but really what gets you kind of to the next level is using those connections and those mentorships. And I'm so glad that we have programs like this where we can continue to meet other Latino leaders. If there's young people who know us, they can reach out to us. And I think community is really what's going to help us move forward as the Hispanic community in this area.
Wonderful. And thank you so much, Karen, for saying this. And I'm going to mention, because I know there's a program in the Coolmore area within Fairfax County that is called the STAR program from a nonprofit organization that is called Hakan. And I'm just mentioning this because probably they're going to be watching this recording at some point when they go to the session. And how important is education? And I want to share that because through the Dream Project, sometimes, we do want to be able to go to, continue with our studies when we graduate high school. But then there are different reasons because why, and I'm going to talk about like immigrant families, why we're like, okay, my parents didn't go to school, my grandparents didn't go to school. In my family, we just don't go to school. So what the Dream Project, and I know we have our lovely friends from Fairfax County Public Schools also in the panel, is how do we, break those chains? And then we're able to guide them. And then just like, and organizations like El Futuro, Hakan, or the Dream Project, guide the students into, since they're in high school, this is the path. And then if you get an education, then you might have a brighter future. And then follow your passion, because a lot of this is about discipline. It's about what am I going to do and focus. And then make sure that in this country, if you discipline yourself, if you follow the path and you follow your dreams and you work hard to accomplish your dreams, like the Dream Project, you can make it there. And then I think the work that Karen does at her really young age, leading this fantastic organization that provides our many immigrant students with the tools to be able to thrive, to be able to continue with their education, and even also guiding the parents and telling them, your kids need to go to school. Your kids are, they fit, and then and they can become great professionals, because sometimes it's a cultural thing, and they can be like, you know what, it's okay, just continue working with me, which has nothing wrong, continue working in my company, or it's great, right? But then supporting, we know that education, it's power, unless you are as brilliant and wonderful like our friend Alejandro, he paved the way and made a successful career by self-educating. But it's not easy. It's not easy. What he has done, it's brilliant.
But I love what I do, and I think, to your point, I think guiding people towards what really lights them up, I really does take care of that other discipline situation or problem that you were talking about. Because if you're doing something that you love, that really, just lights you up, it's not a job. It's not hard. And thank God that today it's totally normal for somebody to say, listen, I want to do X, Y, or Z. And there's not that many people saying, no, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be a doctor, or you have to be. And, I come from a family of lawyers. I have 5 sisters, they're all lawyers. And so in my family, there's a lot of higher education. But, some of them didn't want to be lawyers. Some want to be artists. And we need that too,
For
right?
sure. Yeah,
we
so
need
just
that too.
and I'm gonna close this question just
Follow
with
your dreams.
with the reflection of, follow your heart, follow your
Yeah,
dreams, make
I
what
agree.
do what makes your heart happy, because that way you will be, life goes by so fast, right?
And I think also,
Yes, understand that there are many opportunities, and then if
Exactly.
you want to do it, just go look for those opportunities. Karen, yes.
Absolutely.
yeah. And I would add to that too, as those who work with youth and mentor, meet the students where they are and try to gauge that interest. And I think it starts young. It starts even younger than high school. This whole exchange reminded me, I did a training for mentors at Casa de Chirilago, a different nonprofit, but it
Uh-huh.
was to help them work with middle schoolers of third culture kids. So those who, are maybe born here but have a different culture, mostly
Sure.
immigrant. And I remember one mentor after the training just came up to me. He was so frustrated. He was like, it doesn't matter what I do. All he cares about is becoming a soccer player. And he wants to be a professional soccer player. And I said, well, why don't you do some research and find some positions that, like there's coaches, there's like athletic lawyers that do athletic law, fitness law, or managers of teams. There's so many professions that this 6th grader might not even know are related to soccer if that's his passion. kind of tell him what he can do with that passion other than be a soccer player. And if he becomes a soccer player, great. It's a great dream. But I think for our community, there's students who don't really know what professions are out there, and they do think of the lawyer, the doctor, the things they
Sure.
see in their everyday, but there's so many jobs. I always say, most kids don't grow up thinking, oh, I want to be in HR, but there's so many
Right.
areas of
Exactly.
HR, and unless you have
Exactly.
parents in that field, you don't know those are options. So
Social worker in the education
yeah,
industry, a kindergarten teacher,
Endless.
elementary
Yeah.
school, special education,
Education.
there's so many branches that depending on what makes your heart happy, you should be able to find the right path to be
I
able
also want to
to move
mention
up the ladder.
I want to mention one more thing, and I think as a society, I think we should also celebrate a little bit more, some of these positions. I think that one of the things that happens is that everybody wants to be the ball player, everybody wants to be, the millionaire or
The millionaire.
or the
Yeah.
Bitcoin trader or whatever, and that's absolutely great. If you want to do that, that's absolutely great. But if you're a teacher, you're a hero. If
It's
you're a
changing the
paramedic,
world.
you're a
Yeah.
hero. If you are working
Firefighter,
a
police.
firefighter, if you are an immigration lawyer, especially right now
Now.
with what's
Mhm.
happening, you are a hero. And I think that we should communicate that more. I think at some point in our society, we kind of started celebrating the wrong things. And when we do that, people tend to, I don't know, want to
Yeah,
be things that are not really adding
I
value to the lives of others.
and I would say, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I've been living in this area for the past 30 years, and thank you for reminding about Hakan Star program that I co-founded with Carmen Fernandez, who was that was my first job at Hakan, and we co-founded that with someone which is a kind of a leader, now very well known in our community, which is through her, we did such a great job, which is Rosie Hidalgo. And she was at the time the executive director of our board, and we co-founded all the programming. And today's when I see those little girls who were in Coleman and now they are lawyers and political stars.
Supporting their own community. Imagine that, giving back to the community
Yes,
who gave
it's
them the
just,
tools to succeed.
it's so absolutely emotional. But as Alejandro pointed out, I think we need to start give more importance, especially in the Latino community of women. The values has been changed a little, I mean, a lot. I see so much reinados. I
Yeah.
see a lot of, kind of those things that, I mean, not that I'm all vieja
Oh,
mujer, not, but I mean, I don't have any nostalgic about that, but increasingly they haven't seen a switch in the values for the Latinos and Latinos, the young Latinos and the young Latinas, in those type of things. I think we need to promote more like these forums, and because this is the real one. This is the real life. With a degree, of course, that's the dream of our families, and without one, because anyways, you just need to be an extraordinary human being. That's what they count. And
beautiful.
from my career as a lawyer on special education, the most extraordinary human beings are those kids and youth adults with disabilities. And
Yes, and we're hearing
yes,
from Jennifer, and she's saying, I totally agree with our
yeah,
panelists. Yes, of
and
course.
and um and they are transforming the world. They are really, I mean, I can feel it here in Independence Center and even before. And I think it's important to create a different values and different culture in this emerging Latino community now in the metropolitan area.
I agree.
Beautiful. These are for sure. So, Powerful answers for sure. Definitely. Thank you so much for this. And I know since, we're running short of time and we're now we're question number 3, we are, as Hispanics, we like talking a lot, but you know what? We are sharing powerful messages today. Powerful messages. So it's okay. So I will continue with one of my favorite questions in this panel. And I'm gonna say, you guys ready? Ta-da-da-da.
Ta-da-da-da.
Drumbles, please. Like my daughter says every time that I'm gonna give a surprise. Drumble, please. What does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you? What does it mean for Rosalia, for Alejandro, for Karen to be Hispanic? And why do we celebrate this month? And I'm going to start with Karen, then Alejandro, and finish with our lovely Rosalia.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, I think, growing up, I thought a lot about what the term Hispanic meant. It's something very unique to the United States. Having been born in Bolivia, I was Latina, I was Boliviana, but first time I heard Hispanic was here in the schools when I think I was like checking a box and I said, "What is it?" And the teacher's like, "That's what you are, just check it." And I was like, "Okay." And I went home and asked my dad. He's like, "Yeah, it's just something for the census. Just always check that box." But I think there is something about what it means to be Hispanic in the United States. The Hispanic population, the Latino population, we come from 30 plus countries. We come from so many different ethnic, linguistic, cultural backgrounds. But I think within the United States, we do have a shared experience.
Mm-hmm.
We have, whether we came in our generation or we're the descendants of immigrants, I think that we face struggle, we face barriers, but we're also very resilient. And I think one of my favorite things about being Hispanic or Latino is it's that we, even in tough times, we celebrate. We celebrate our culture. We have our parties, our music. Sometimes even when we sing of struggle, we sing it with a nice beat. And to me, Hispanic Heritage Month is that it's celebrating everything that makes our history unique and special, even the bad parts. In my spare time, I actually dance like Bolivian folkloric dances, and during this time, there's a lot of presentations, and it's a little bittersweet this year because I've seen kind of a drop in different groups performing at events in DC and Virginia out of fear for what's happening with ICE. But at the same time, it's very powerful to still see dancers, not just Bolivian dancers, but you see Mexican dancers, Mexican groups, Puerto Rican groups, and you see them and you see the American flag behind them. And sometimes you see the Capitol behind them as they're performing. And there's such a big statement in that. And to me, it's a way to resist, even through dancing, through music, to party. And I think this year especially, I feel very strongly about celebrating this month and being very intentional in how we celebrate.
Love it.
I mean, I
Yay.
agree with everything Karen just said. I think right now it's kind of about resistance with everything that's happening. I just came from hosting Fiesta DC this weekend, where we had those Bolivian groups and Colombian groups and Dominican and Puerto Rican and Salvadoran and Honduran, celebrate with the backdrop of the United States Capitol, and it was beautiful. And a lot of people showed up, although a lot of people stayed home because of fear. And there was a debate and a conversation as to if we should be exposing people to this. And on the radio, I took a stand that, look, if you're undocumented, I totally understand that you have fear. If you are a citizen of the United States, this is the moment to step up and represent, because a lot of people have worked very hard, and not only in the Hispanic community, right? I'm talking about the 1950s and 60s and the civil rights era. And, for us to be seen the way we are today, and we can't just, shrink from our responsibility as the number one minority in the United States and simply hide, because that's exactly what they want. They, for the longest time, the community was not seen. Now we are seen, not only in movies, but in media, but in everything, in business, in education, in the law, in any aspect of American life. Hispanics are there. And they're trying to take us back to an era where, we just do certain jobs, but not others. And we shouldn't allow that. And the number one thing that we should do is resist by just simply showing up without violence, of course, without causing trouble, of course, but show up. And if you're a citizen, I think that's your responsibility. And I'll take this opportunity to remind everybody that we do have an election in Virginia. Vote for whoever you want, but please register and vote. We need to be counted. And this is the time for us to be talking about these things. And I really do hope that if leaders like Martin Luther King and others were alive today and they were leading our movement, with everything that's happening with the undocumented and the rest, that they will have the team that they had in the 1950s and 60s that got them the Civil Rights Act of 1964, 1965 Voting Rights Act, 1968 Voting Rights Act. And we kind of need to study our history so that we do understand as Hispanics what is expected of us as a minority in the United States and how history in this country has been, or what the history in this country has been for minorities, and how each one has had to fight, for their rights, which are, guaranteed in the Constitution, but that we have to kind of not just take them for granted. We have to fight for them, and we have to show up. So to me, it's a great opportunity to do that. So that's what Hispanic Heritage Month is for me, whether we call ourselves Hispanics, Latinx, Latinos, or whatever. As a Puerto Rican, I came here when I was 13 years old. As a Puerto Rican, you come, they tell you you're a citizen, and you think you're going to get treated just like everybody else. You quickly find out that you get treated just like anybody else who's not from here. And you get otherized very quickly. So whether you're a citizen, whether you're Puerto Rican or Honduran or Salvadorian, I think we're all in the same boat. And we need to get out there and, represent. And that's what I hope to do every day on the radio.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alejandro. And now, Rosalie.
I think I don't need to add much, but I was thinking about representation and I was thinking about Espanol. And last week, and thank you, Alejandro, the commercial was so beautiful. Everybody was, in the other organization, remember we were 5. We presented for the first time in Español about empoderamiento en la discapacidad. And that was huge. It was a national webinar with Wilmer Valderrama, which is a famous actor, talking about advocacy and talking about involvement for families whose children have disabilities. And we were 5 organizations presenting and reminding this country about our rights for people who have disabilities. As Alejandro stated, they are there, but something different that they are writing, that they are applied. And when you have a disability, you should really face a lot of barriers, and but at the same time, a lot of pride. And we celebrate our pride on disability in Espanol as a part of the Hispanic Heritage Celebration. And that was profound for me. There have been 25 years. I was the first person who was a Spanish speaker. And I learned English in here. When I came here, I was 30-something years old. And I went to Carlos Rosario adult education. And that's why I learned my English. That means that this beautiful accent that I have is, it tells who I am, where I'm coming from, and I feel very proud. For me, Hispanic Heritage Month always is contribution. How much we have been contributing to this country. Aparte de food, dancing, talent,
Sure.
all this talent everywhere, but significantly for me, especially this Hispanic Heritage Month, that we were able to present about pride on disability in Espanol, and now more than ever, because as immigrants, as people with disability, we have been receiving so much attacks in our rights, but we are still fighting our resistance in our own Espanol.
Wonderful and wonderful. And I know, Tina, we're running out of time, but this conversation is so powerful. We might go over an hour. And just to wrap up this question, you know what? In one sentence, I will say that to be Hispanic in the US means, carrying the richness of Latin American heritage with us while navigating and contributing to the diverse fabric of American society, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I know, we only have 10 more minutes left, but I want to take advantage of this opportunity to ask this powerful panel, our powerful panelists today. What advice do you have for young people? And my nephew is online. My nephew, Oscar Guillermo, it has joined. So I think this is going to be a great and inspiring message for all the, our young Hispanic in the United States. So what advice do you have for young people who are aspiring to have a successful career like yours? In short, because we only have a couple of minutes.
Karen, you go. You are the youngest.
I guess I'll start. My advice would be to young Hispanic youth, celebrate your differences, your diversity. I know at this time there's this language going around that, diversity isn't an asset, but it is your own background, how you've grown up, the communities you come from. It gives you a different perspective, whether you're multilingual, bilingual, multicultural, all those different experiences, they give you windows into how people think. They make you think in a different way. And there's a reason why that's valuable, whether on your campuses, in the workplace. Do not feel like those differences make you an other or they give you a disadvantage. Own it. And I think as you move through your education and your career, it's really what's going to set you apart, and it's going to give you an asset in how you see the world and what type of professional you become.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
All right, who wants to go next?
Alejandro.
Okay, I'll go next.
I think it's just the order. Actually, I'm seeing you guys on the screen. I'm like, we go from left to right, from right to left, then you're right in the middle.
I agree with everything Karen said. Listen, bet on yourself. Bet on yourself and know that there's a whole community behind you, rooting for you, knowing that you're going to do great things. That precisely because you're different and you may talk different and you may look different, you may inspire other people who are also kind of unseen or haven't participated fully of the American experiment. And you can open the door for somebody. And when you do open the door for somebody, make sure to leave it open so that more can come and walk through it. I think we have a big responsibility there. But again, bet on yourself and do whatever lights you up, whatever you really do care about, whatever moves you, do that, whether someone likes it or not.
Beautiful. And last but not least, Rosalia.
Well, I think I have two rules in my life, and that I always telling the youth, never forget where you're coming from.
Sure.
Never, ever, because if you are not recognizing your past and your heritage, your Hispanic heritage, you are denying yourself, and your parents get, in so many cases, are first generation of immigrants. And never, ever forget others. Always give back, because the new generation probably will have more opportunities of us. We were con el machete, opening those, opening those doors, and because we were the first of course, because we are a little bit older, and but new generation have more opportunities, if I can say that, to give back to the community. Never ever forget to do that. That's the most rewarding feeling, giving back to others. You giving back your knowledge, your wealth, because it's needed more than ever. That will be my advice for the new generation.
Beautiful. And thank you guys for paving the way for this, new generation of professionals that we are going to be having in the United States, immigrant power.
Yes.
And before we wrap up our panel, I know that we have a couple of items that we want to, we have a little raffle. So the first person who wants to win something today, I think, Tina, we have a Barnes & Noble gift card, an Amazon gift card, and we have a book from a Hispanic author as well. Can you confirm with me, Tina?
Barnes & Noble gift card, and I think I can get a Starbucks gift card.
Ooh,
All right.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay. So we're going to start this. It's going to be very fast because we only have a couple of minutes. For the first person who writes in the chat, when do we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's see. No way. No way. Let's see. Let me check the chat. Let me check the chat. September. And I'm going to say Jasmine Chavez, you nail it. September 15 to October 15. And I'm going to, which one was the first one, Tina? Tina's the boss here of the raffle. Barnes & Noble?
Let's see. Barnes & Noble it is.
Yes.
All right.
Congratulations, Jasmine. And now, ta-da-da-da, share the name of your favorite Latin American dancer or singer, artist in the chat. Can give you guys a little hint. Who is going to sing in the Super Bowl?
Oh.
Ricky Martin.
Aunque
Oh,
no
that
le
was
guste.
fast. No, hold on. We have a first one. Jennifer M.
Jennifer.
J-Lo. Puerto Rican
Yes.
power today. J-Lo. So Jennifer will be the, we will, if you can write the contact, or Tina, if you can put in your email in the chat, so Jennifer and
Yes.
Jasmine can get a hold of you to be able to get their prices. And we have one
Absolutely.
more. And this last prize is very special. It's from a really good friend. She is originally from Peru. Her name is Claudia Morcello, and she wrote a book. She's also a part of the workforce of Fairfax County. She works at the health department. But she is the author of a book that is called Mamá a los 16, where she shares her journey when she came, how it was growing up in Peru, her journey coming to the United States, how she became a mom at 16, and how she, was able to overcome many obstacles in her career, and how she was really focused into going to the university, becoming a professional. And, one way or the other, she did it. So it's a beautiful story of success, to be honest. I read that book like in 2 days. So it's a beautiful book. So let's see. And I'm going to say, who is singing in the Super Bowl in 2026 in January? Let's see. Let's see if someone knows. Oh, and then we have, okay. Jennifer, you won already. So we're going to see PC Care. You won the book. It is our great Bad Bunny. Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te tuve. And I'm not a great singer, but here we go. We're proud of the Puerto Rican power, and that we're going to have a great artist representing our culture in the Super Bowl this year. And with this said, thank you so much to our great panelists. And then I'm going to, I want to say congratulations to the winners. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to our panelists and to all of you who joined us today. The insights and experiences shared by our Latinx leaders have not only highlighted the incredible contributions of our community, but have also reminded us of the work we still must do to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to thrive. Just like our panelists were mentioning earlier, Hispanic Heritage Month is more than a celebration. It is a call to action. It challenges us to continue lifting up the voices of our Latinx community to ensure that their stories are heard, and to support the ongoing efforts towards equity, inclusion, and justice. The strength, and I'm saying this 100% from my heart, of Fairfax County lies in its diversity. And events like this remind us how much we gain by coming together, learning from one another, and committing to progress for all. As we live today, I want to encourage all of you to carry forward the spirit of this celebration, not just this month, but throughout the year. And let's continue to support one another, elevate our communities, and build bridges that unite us all. Thank you all to our remarkable panelists, to everyone who joined, to everyone who made this possible. Thank you so much, Fairfax County Public Libraries, for always opening the door and the opportunity to, host this kind of events, and to each of you for being part of this important conversation. Let's keep the momentum going. You know what? Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Have a great night. Adios.
Adios.
Thank you, Carol.
Gracias a todos.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Chao, chao.